Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Scary Stories, written by AntiMoneySquandering. And then they heard the scratching noise from behind them again. Scared and nervously hid in their walls, trying not to shake as the noise grew. The scratching grew louder and louder as they shouted until they realized they could hear it on the outside of their own walls. At this, a hidden hatchling burst out and screeched loudly, causing the two listening raptly to the story to squeal in fear. An almond-like scent emanated in the room, and one of the scared youths reached out and punched the jumper in annoyance. They laughed together. "Oh my God, we got you, Neri. I thought that you were going to jump out of your shell."
"It's not very funny, Verret. You know I hate it when you use our names in your stupid scary stories."
Verret continued to laugh, butting heads with Tori for a job well done, as the other two continued to complain.
Where were you even hiding, Tori? You know it's a bad scary story if you have to leap at us." "It's not, it's too. It's not scary. Just pray response."
"Yeah, well."
"What's going on in here?"
The doorway stood a much larger Ivan. Their eyes narrowed in annoyance at the suddenly silent younglings.
"Well, is someone going to answer me?"
The seated Ivan looked at each other briefly, all trying to avoid the gaze above them. "It's just scary stories, Mother," Verret muttered, his head still facing down and his voice echoing slightly in his shell.
"Don't talk into your shells. How many times have I told you?"
Her expression softened somewhat as Verret's shell flushed slightly purple in embarrassment. She made her way further into the room, settling down at the head of the circle of hatchlings. She reached out and gave Nevri a gentle pat on her shell, still yet to reach her full hardness of maturity. At this age, while they grew rapidly, they still exposed a great deal of their Ivan's delicate bodies. Their mother's shell, far larger, pulsing slightly with a light yellow color as the hatchlings moved closer, eagerly.
"Scary stories, huh? Well, how about a real scary story, a true one?"
The younger Ivan all trilled their agreement, their shells confused blurring of excitement green and trepidation orange.
"Out there,"
she gestured above them, the hatchlings looking up as if they could see through the dark blue ceiling.
"there are other species that live in the farthest reaches of space, some of which that are almost as advanced as the Ivan."
The hatchlings snickered at this, their shells a pale pink of disbelief.
"Oh, I know we think that we're the most advanced."
She paused and placed a one-finned forelimb conspiratorially to her mouth.
"Which we are."
The hatchlings laughed louder at this, some slapping their own shelled bodies gently as they guffawed.
"There are, however, some aliens out there who are close to us, who may even overtake us in the future if we're not careful. But if the Accord goes through, we may all grow together, sharing in our technology and research. You see, nearly all of other species have very similar upbringings to us Ivorn. But this isn't about any of those aliens. No, this is about one species that doesn't fit into the universe. The one that's going their own, very different route."
"Humans," Verret squeaked.
"Yes, little one, humans." "But they are primitives,"
Tori exclaimed, looking around at the others for support.
"They're not even close to us or other sentients."
"Sentience," the mother corrected, glancing briefly back at the door before continuing. "And yes, they are less advanced than us. It would probably take them another few hundred cycles to even get close to a hyperfault technology. Who knows what that is?" Skirt raised a fin, but flushed an angry red when Verret simply blurted out the answer. "It's what lets us get places, even other planets. It shortens the distances, somehow."
"Yes, somehow," she continued, picking up the slight grumbling Skirt. "The other sentients have already mastered it, or are very close to. Instead of traveling ourselves, we pull ourselves through, allowing travel over fantastic distances. The others differ slightly, of course, but for the most part, the end result is the same. We start at one point and poof, we're suddenly at another." She pretended to throw Skirt to illustrate her point, who giggled wildly. "But the humans don't have that," Tori said, staring up at the mother. "So they're stuck." "So we thought," the mother said, leaning forward and placing Skirt down with his hatchmates. "We thought them too primitive for space travel, given how far behind they were with full technology. What we didn't expect was for them to find a different way." She stood and slowly walked around the children, gesturing with her fins. Explosions from their area of space are commonplace. Humans have, since we've discovered them, been prone to igniting weapons that cause great eruptions, obliterating small swaths of their planet. We also kept our distance, viewing these atrocities, hoping that they would resolve their violent tendencies. Who are they fighting, Mother? Themselves, little one. They fight themselves, or perhaps other poor creatures that share the planet with them. The mother paused as the children considered this, all their shells of vivid pink color. After a few more moments, she returned to pacing around them. So we thought nothing of some more explosions from that sector, just standard human barbarity. Then we started picking up on something more concerning. Unidentified objects hurtling across the galaxy. It did not take long to realize their origin was the human home planet. What were they, Mother? Probes? We didn't know, little ones, not at first. They were odd machines, forged from metals in a manner alien to us. As they grew closer to civilized space, we took a greater interest and had access to more details. They were propelled through space by something like those explosions that we had seen from the human planet, cutting through the dark in a blaze of light. Weapons, perhaps. She stopped and gave the nervous Devry a comforting stroke across the top of her scaled head. It was only when we intercepted one that we realized what the humans had done. What? What had they done? The hatchlings exclaimed when their mother waited, looking at each one in turn. It was a ship, little ones, like our fold vessels, but different in ways we hadn't even considered. They strapped themselves into those vehicles, organized a controlled explosion, and sent themselves careening across the universe. A metal case, outside of which was an uncaring, freezing void of space. We were horrified, wondering what manner of creature would be willing to subject themselves to such a thing. The mother shivered, as if even the thought of it was abhorrent. The hatchlings sat completely still, their attention held completely by their parent. When we found the humans themselves, well, we understood a bit more. They were utterly alien beings, a bald expanse of skin covering their frames. They were a mix of colors, some a deathly white, others as dark as the space outside. We had assumed from the ships, but seeing them confirmed it. They were giant creatures, some as large as 20 fins tall, and as drones that had found them discovered, they did not mind the terrifying nature of empty space because each of these humans were frozen. Frozen? Barrett gulped, and every hatchling shell was pitch black of fear. How? Each human was encased in some sort of chamber. This device kept them frozen but alive somehow. Our short scout drones recorded this. They noticed that the chambers had begun to activate, the frost covering the humans thawing. They were waking up. The hatchlings squealed in terror and ran to their sleep pods before their mother could finish her story. She chuckled as they snuggled themselves in, their shells slowly returning some color as they calmed down and whispered amongst themselves. Go to sleep now, little ones. Try not to dream of humans. The hatchlings squealed again, though more in play this time. The mother turned to leave, but the wavering voice of Verret stopped her. Mother, what happened to the humans? Did they wake up? She paused, and a shell cycled through a myriad of muted colors as she considered the question. Eventually, she sighed and turned back to face the room. No, little ones. We folded their ship somewhere else, far away from us. The humans can't get you. The hatchlings seemed to settle down, when another small voice piped up. Mother, what if the humans find out what happened to their friends? Won't they be mad? They won't find out, little one. Do not fret. But what if they do? The mother blinked slowly, her shell now a single color. They won't, Neri. Now go to bed. She left the hatchlings as they continued to mutter amongst themselves. On a whim, she opened the front entrance to the habitat and walked outside to stand beneath the stars. She took a deep breath. The air still warm and felt her eyes drawn upwards. She gazed up and looked at the black expanse above her and knew without looking that her shell matched it. They, won't. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.